Yeah, we hold Billy too there. Okay, Bill, come
Ladies
on
and gentlemen,
around.
please hold it quiet.
Okay, that's the shot.
Thank you for ripping a ticket to another installment of Hellhound Film Club. I'm your host, Cody Pope, and this is my co-host,
Danny Dimes.
and as we truly are every time we do this, we're thrilled to introduce tonight's panel and special feature. So get your popcorn and let the credits roll. First to our panel for the evening is a longtime friend of mine from the very first episodes of Hellhound Film Club dating back to 2021, a lifelong physical media collector and independent filmmaker with his brand new shorts, August After Hours, a city film, and Snow on Horseshoe Pond, both available to watch now on the London Street Films YouTube channel. Please give it up one time for Robert of London Street Films. Also joining the panel tonight is a first-time initiated to the Hellhound Film Club. We are thrilled to have this person joining us. We have Artsy Alicia here, and so we actually just got a little bit of information about her after the show, so we're going to have her explain a little bit about what she does. But for now, check out Artsy Alicia. She's got a website, what you can see right here. Well, you can't see it because the screen is not that good here, but you can go on her website, which is artsy-alicia, ALYCIA.net. And you can see stickers, prints, paintings, all sorts of awesome art that we're going to get into a little later. So give it up for first time to the panel, Alicia. Also joining the panel tonight, always happy when she arrives here, an advocate for animals, veterans, and humanity alike. She has numerous efforts and fundraisers within our community, and jointly, she's a lifelong music and movie fan. Please welcome the return of our friend, Sammy Ann Claire. And joining the panel all the way on the end over there, last but not least by any means, another longtime friend of the show. You can find her often assisting at Dimes Media, and she's a frequent New England concert traveler. Please welcome our friend, Jess Cantwell.
And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We're grateful to be here for another special installment of the Hellhound Film Club. But before we get too deep, first things first, as always, we are live from the spot right here in downtown Nashua, New Hampshire.
One of New Hampshire's first dry bars and Gate City's most interesting entertainment lounge, featuring a delicious selection of premium mocktails, kava, coffee, tea, and more. In addition to the late night menu, featuring delicious eats available now, courtesy of the one and only Nashua, New Hampshire staple, Joanne's Kitchen.
So come check us out here for Hellhound Film Club Live, free movie night and podcast recording on Wednesday nights at 217 Main Street, Nashua, New Hampshire, when tickets get ripped at 7 p.m.
And exciting reminder, we're going to be pulling random winners before the end of each episode. One commenter from last week's main video is going to receive a prize. They're going to have 24 hours to claim it via email. And one random attendee of our live recording right here tonight is going to be eligible to win a prize as well. We actually got a really cool prize for tonight. Let me show this off while Danny does some talking here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a really great piece right here, actually made by our own Cody Pope right here. It's absolutely amazing. So definitely stay tuned till the end of the episode to find out our in-person winner of the week, as well as the YouTube comment winner from last week's video.
That's a custom one-of-one framed 12 by 18 Orson Welles Appreciation Hour poster with all of the logistics from our screening tonight. So somebody that got to watch The Third Man with us is going to be able to take this home and hang it up on their wall.
She's going to kill us when we turn that into another business. I'm going to get uninvited to the wedding.
So needless to say, again, you know what though? That wasn't as bad as last week's.
That's my point. That's where the first uninvite came from.
I don't see the pitchforks out tonight, so we're doing good so far. Now, you know what? We're going to do a little talking, so I'm going to do something a little different here because we've got quite the story to share with you guys tonight. Let me throw on a little background music while we tell this story. What do you guys think? So,
I know, usually we got a nice little like expert, and then we kind of just get into the whole panel thing, but
yeah, but this one is special, so let's make sure we do this right. Oh, I forgot we wouldn't even hear it anyways, so hopefully this sounds cool. So for our conversation tonight, we're celebrating a true pioneer of cinema. Someone who has left an indelible mark on the arts, stage, and theater. In his early 20s, to a near world-shattering radio broadcast, to his very first film in 1941, in which he wrote, produced, directed, and starred in a film that has since been considered the greatest film of all time by countless publications. One of the most influential filmmakers of all time, Orson Welles. As the 111th birthday of perhaps the world's most renowned auteur makes its way on the calendar, May 6th, we begin a discussion of the legacy cemented in our Orson Welles Appreciation Hour. Born May 6, 1915, Orson Welles survived a tumultuous childhood, moving frequently, living between estranged parents, with his mother eventually passing away just after Welles' 9th birthday. With his alcoholic father passing away shortly after he turned 15 years old, he graduated from seminary school at 16 and, using some of his inheritance, went on a painting and sketching tour of Ireland and the Aran Islands, traveling by donkey cart.
Wells said during this walking and painting trip through Ireland, he went into the Gate Theatre in Dublin and claimed he was a Broadway star. The manager at the Gate, Hilton Edwards, later said he had not believed Wells, but was impressed by his brash and an impasse audition.
Wells made his stage debut at the Gate Theatre on October 13, 1931, appearing in an Ashley Dukes adaptation as Duke Carl Alexander of Württemberg. He performed supporting roles in other Gates productions and produced and designed productions of his own. In March 1932, Wells performed in W. Somerset Maugham's The Circle at Dublin's Abbey Theatre and traveled to London to find work in the theatre. Unable to obtain a work permit, he returned to the United States.
Throughout the 1930s, Wells remained actively involved in both theater and radio. By 1935, Wells was supplementing his earnings in the theater as a radio actor in Manhattan, working with many actors who later formed the core of his Mercury Theater on programs including America's Hour, Cavalcade of America, Columbia Workshop, and the March of Time. Within a year of his debut, Wells could claim membership in that elite band of radio actors who commanded salaries second only to the highest paid movie stars.
Leveraging his large earnings from radio, he often reinvested into his own creative freedom, putting together historically impactful projects, such as his first stage production with the Federal Theater Project in 1936, which was an adaptation of Shakespeare's Macbeth, with a cast of about 150 African-American actors, and the story was reset in a mythical island indicative of Haiti during the Haitian Revolution. The play was heralded and received rapturously, setting young Orson Welles to already be recognized as a true prodigy at the age of 20 years old. Later, in 1938, Welles formed a repertory company called the Mercury Theatre, as we had mentioned before, through which Welles did a modern dress adaptation of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, in which he wrote, produced, and starred in, which went on to break all performance records for the play of Caesar.
Simultaneously with his work in the theater, Wells worked extensively in radio as an actor, writer, director, and producer often without credit. Between 1935 and 1937, he was earning as much as $2,000 a week, shuffling between studios at such a pace that he would arrive barely in time for a scan of his lines before he was on air. While he was directing the Voodoo Macbeth, Wells was dashing between Harlem and Midtown Manhattan 3 times a day to meet his radio commitments.
Right? Dude, that's what I'm like. Yeah, we'll get there. After the theatrical successes of the Mercury Theater, CBS Radio invited Wells to create a summer show for 13 weeks. The series began July 11th, 1938, with a formula that Wells would play the lead in each show. The weekly hour-long show presented radio plays based on classic literary works, with original music composed and conducted by Bernard Herrmann, who you may remember from our Taxi Driver episode. Or, if you're like me and you're a huge Twilight Zone fan, Bernard Herrmann did the season 1 theme song of the original Twilight Zone. And he's also done insane, epic amounts of work, but that just is like a small little token there. The Mercury Theater's radio adaptation of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells on October 30th, 1938 brought Wells instant fame. The combination of the news bulletin form of the performance, the between-break dialing spinning habits of listeners, created confusion among listeners who failed to hear the introduction to the radio program. Although the extent of this confusion has come into some question, panic was reportedly spread amongst listeners who believed the fictional news reports of a Martian invasion. The myth of the result created a combination that was reported as fact around the world, including being disparagingly mentioned by Adolf Hitler. Just to give you a reference of what the world was like at the time, Orson Welles played a radio prank that pissed so many people off that Hitler had something to say about it.
I don't think he's in a position to be mad at anybody.
Yeah. Shit. Statement.
So, the real question, was that a lot of history so far?
Was that a lot?
Was that a lot of history so far?
You guys?
And if you haven't noticed, we haven't even gotten to something yet. Movies. That's right. Orson Welles did all of that from his late teen years to the age of 24, when after facing 2 previous proposal rejections, he finally got the opportunity on his 3rd proposal to make a movie with RKO Pictures.
So this guy seems pretty special already, right? Seems like he's done a couple of cool things. The first film that he ever made is one that, even if you haven't seen it yet, chances are you've probably heard of it through pop culture.
If you haven't heard of it,
I'd be shocked.
You are under a rock somewhere.
His first film has been frequently cited as, quote, the greatest movie ever made, which is the one and only Citizen Kane. His second film, The Magnificent Ambersons, starts with a quote. The fate of the Magnificent Ambersons is one of film history's great tragedies. That's a quote from film historian Robert L. Carringer. This was Welles' second film for RKO, adapted by Welles from Booth Tarkington's Pulitzer Prize-winning 1918 novel about the declining fortunes of a wealthy Midwestern family and the social changes brought by the automobile age.
Greg Toland, the cinematographer with whom Welles worked with on Citizen Kane, was unavailable, so Stanley Cortez was hired as a cinematographer for the Amberson. The meticulous, let's go. I'm so proud of myself right now. The meticulous Cortez worked slowly and the film lagged behind schedule and went over budget. The contract renegotiations with RKO over another film he was obligated to direct, Welles was conceded final cut on the Amberson.
And this is why that last sentence that you just said is such a turnkey for this whole thing. A finished 131-minute version, edited per Welles' detailed instructions, was previewed on March 17, 1942 in Pomona, California. The studio executive was present and was rattled by the audience response, in which 75% of the preview cards were negative. The film was received more favorably by a preview audience in the more upscale Pasadena, California, just 2 days later on March 19th, with only 25% of the preview cards coming in negative. However, the experience led this executive to authorize the studio to make whatever changes necessary to make The Magnificent Ambersons a commercial success.
The editor, whom with Wells had left in charge of post-production, removed nearly 50 minutes of footage from Wells' cut. Several scenes, including the ending, were rewritten and reshot. Over Wells' opposition, The Magnificent Amberson was cut to 88 minutes.
Now, imagine making a 131-minute movie, spending all this time, and then some dickhead comes in and is like, you know what, we gotta get this under 90 minutes. This plot point, no thanks, we don't need it. And it gets worse, because like the film, Bernard Herrmann's score was heavily edited by RKO. More than half of the score was removed and replaced with music by Roy Webb. Herrmann bitterly severed his ties with the film and promised legal action if he was not removed from the credits.
Speaking of Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, that was cut by 25 minutes. Yeah, no. We do what we do. But even in its release form, The Magnificent Amberson is considered one of the best films of all time. The film was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and added to the National Film Registry in 1991.
That's why this is such a heavy conversation, because this guy was such an auteur that even his most hacked up body of work that mad people tried to interfere in, the source of it was still so powerful that it went on to be that acclaimed. After that, Wells continued working in Hollywood for the next 40 plus years in both Hollywood and throughout Europe.
Eventually, by 1970, he would move back to the United States after an 11-year split between Croatia, Spain, France, Yugoslavia, and more.
In these later years, as a renowned and iconic figure, not only was he able to secure work easily with television and movie appearances, narration work, and the like, he also acted, directed, and spent much of his focus on a project called The Other Side of the Wind, a project that was filmed intermittently between 1970 and 76. It was co-written by Wells and his mistress, Oja Kadar. It's the story of an aging film director, played by John Huston, looking for funds to complete his final film. The cast includes Peter Bogdanovich, Susan Strasberg, Norman Foster, Edmund O'Brien, Cameron Mitchell, and Dennis Hopper. Financed by Iranian backers, ownership fell into a legal quagmire after the Shah of Iran was deposed. The legal disputes kept the film in its unfinished state until 2017, and it was finally released posthumously in 2018.
And as always, we never know who our panel is going to be for the evening, because that's the great thing about this. Every week it could be different people. So for these nights where we're highlighting a special artist, we have to pick a singular film and hope for the uninitiated that it will resonate and excite them enough to join the discussion afterwards.
So for our free movie night feature, we've examined one of the most revered movies throughout the decades since its release. A film heralded and lauded by the likes of Akira Kurosawa, Holt, Siskel and Ebert, Pauline Kael, Time Magazine, and countless others. The Carol Reed-directed Orson Welles starring film noir, The Third Man, released theatrically in the United States on February 2nd, 1950. Set in post-war Vienna, Austria, The Third Man stars Joseph Cotten as Holly Martins, a writer of pulp westerns, who arrives penniless as a guest of his childhood chum, Harry Lime, played by Orson Welles, only to find him dead. Martins develops a conspiracy theory after learning of a third man present at the time of Harry's death, running into interference from British officer Major Calloway, played by Trevor Howard, and falling head over heels for Harry's grief-stricken lover Anna, played by Alida Valli. So this was I feel like it's dumb for me to say the first thing because obviously I love these movies because I picked them. So needless to say, getting to rewatch the movie that I chose for this was outstanding. Every time I watch this, it never gets less exciting to watch. And even after seeing it numerous times, I still find little things here and there that I'm like, wow, like even like Robert and I, while we were setting up for the pod, I was like, did you notice in this scene that like, and so that's one of the things that I love about a movie is like insane replay value. So what I'd like to do to kick this thing off is I'd like to kind of go around the panel. We'll start with you, Danny. And basically, if you kind of let us know, was this your first time seeing this film or even your first time with an Orson Welles film in general? And how did this one make you feel?
Not my first time seeing it, but easily 20 years since I've last seen it. The last time I saw this was my Blockbuster years. Like 3 movies, just scooping them up.
You can't rewind, baby.
That's right. And definitely was a huge Citizen Kane fan, but then of course people are like, well, if you like this one, you need to see this one, try this one. So it just led me down roads because like I had free rentals that I needed to use for something.
Straight up.
So it was just like, yo, let me scoop these up. And so, yeah, it's been probably about 20 years. Definitely not my first Orson Welles and not the first time I've seen this. So,
Okay.
and I'm going to pass the mic so I don't talk anymore, so I don't discuss anything. And then you can make your face at me because I brought a point up that you're going to bring up later.
To be fair, it does say on our notes, 1 to 2 minutes max per person. So he's just obliging by the rules, that's all.
And we know how well I can read, so.
This is true. Jess, thank you for joining the panel tonight, as always, friend. So let's get to the nitty gritty. Was this your first time with the third man?
Yes. Is this be like a shocker button or?
We need to get a sound effect that's wow.
I thought about playing the boo effect for it. First time I've seen it.
We love first timers here at Film Club. That's what this is all about.
We do.
Introducing people to great cinema. Introducing great people to great cinema. That's the goal. So was this your first time with any familiarity with Orson Welles that you can remember?
Now the War of the World, right?
Yeah, the radio broadcast.
But that's just the broadcast that he did. So when they did the movie, that was like a remake off of that broadcast, right?
Yeah. So War of the Worlds is a property that goes back before even the radio. So like the radio broadcast was an adaptation of an old science
So I've seen the
fiction
movie
story.
based on that. So yes, it would be my first movie of his.
That's exciting.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take a guess. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but knowing you, that I've known you through film club and life, this probably isn't a movie that you would have like blind bought yourself. You were even saying when we got here tonight, you were like, I didn't know if this was gonna be a movie for me, honestly. And
A movie worth losing sleep for.
Yeah.
All right, let's be clear. I have to get up at 7:30 in the morning
So-
and I drive 2 hours to get here.
They do. They come from 2 hours away to do the podcast, so they do have leniency there.
So yes, I did go back and forth this week about should I come see this movie. I have nothing against older movies. I love like Gone with the Wind, classic. How can you not love that movie? So that time period
It is
is
the most popular old movie in history next to Citizen Kane.
yeah.
She's gonna be like North by Northwest or something. She's gonna be like, I don't even know that movie.
Yeah, Danny just flexed on you.
I know.
Now you gotta roast him in the car. Now in the car ride home, you just gotta be like, you fucking nerd.
I know we've seen a lot of movies, so I can't.
I mean, she could have thrown out 12 Angry Men at least. That's no movie.
Dude, your biceps are popping out through your hoodie. We see you. We see you, big dog. We see you shining over here.
But no, I was actually the only thing I have with these older movies is I have a hard time following them sometimes. Like in the beginning, I obviously knew that this person got murdered or killed or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I had a really hard time like trying to figure out where everyone was and like where things were going. But I think that's just me seeing the movie. It might be just a personal thing. Eventually, like halfway towards the end, I was like, okay, I'm catching on now. I see what's going on.
I will say, I think, and Robert, I would love your thoughts on this too. find myself to be somewhat of a film noir, like I really love film noir. One of the most common tropes within film noir is, how do I stir this can of worms so much for the first like 45 minutes so that you can't figure out what's going on? It's like, it's intentionally set up to make you second guess yourself until just the right moment when the writer says, time to unfold this. You've been patient. Here you go. Would you say that that's a fair assessment?
Yes.
Thank you for that long, extensive confirmation.
It's been under a minute.
I said a minute, not a second. You're doing great though. So all right, so it made you feel confused. Was kind of the initial thought.
Yeah, a little, but like eventually I caught on, and I like some of the characters in there. I wasn't, when they were doing the interviews and stuff. I'm like, I'm not really sure what your point is right now, so, or the story, which just confused me a little bit. But eventually I was like, oh, okay, this person was a witness that didn't really come. He didn't say anything. Okay, now I get it. Now he's murdered. Oh, okay. All right, now I'm understanding what's happening here. And then all of a sudden, he appeared, the guy who got. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you're just telling them the whole movie.
Yeah, my bad.
Let me ask you this instead. So, you found yourself. So you came into it concerned that it might not fit your taste of the movie.
Right.
You took the risk and gave it a shot. Found yourself to be very confused following the plot line up until a certain point.
Right.
Was the payoff at the end worth it for all of that leading into it?
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed the movie. Again, it probably would have been something I would have picked off the shelf and said, "Oh, I'm going to watch this. This looks good." But you always seem to have really great taste in movies, so
Thank you.
so far everything I've watched, I've enjoyed. Again, it might not be something that I might pick on my own, but
I think if I recall, the Goofy movie did not go over well with our panel.
the movie was good.
That was
it's just not top
quite a
tier.
devastating episode that still sits in my heart.
I think it was great.
So let's. I'm not going to derail us too long, but let's just talk about the fact that a Goofy movie was our worst rated movie, and then Existence was our best rated movie. Like, that was not what I expected from this program. In a way, I'm kind of proud, but I also, Goofy, my boy, I love you so much.
I also think it helped though with Existence was we had a couple members on the panel that had never seen it before,
Yeah.
so there was a lot of shock value to it and like really nuked like that rating because they were like they could still have like that shock value of still like
That's a great first time watch for sure.
so and kind of on her point real quick is I also think the movie's meant to be a little confusing due to the fact that the first half of the movie is half in a foreign language and you don't understand what they're truly saying except for when somebody translates it for
And that's why they don't sub it, because you're supposed to be in a state of
because you're supposed to
confusion.
be just like the main character.
Yeah.
It was like, what? Wait, what they say? What's going on? They're supposed to, that creates that confusion for the watcher. So I think that's part of the movie that like you're supposed to experience.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to be like, now unless you happen to know German and you're sitting there watching the movie and you're listening and you're like translating it in your head, you're supposed to be confused. So I and then like towards like the middle part where you're saying like, oh, I'm starting to catch on, I believe you start seeing less of foreign languages at that point and more English, so you do understand what's going on. And I think that's part of the way that it was written for that exact effect.
Yeah.
And that's my personal like, take on it.
I will say, fortunately for me, I listened to the band Rammstein when I was in 4th grade, so I was able to translate all of the German from this movie with no faults whatsoever. I was able to just fully understand it without subs.
Unfortunately, the only German I understand from them is in How High.
Sammy, Sammy Angel, Sammy Darling, Sammy over there in the chair. I'm doing wonderful.
Super.
So,
You know the backstory.
yep. So I gotta ask, was this your first time with the third man?
My first time with the third man, and as you know, I was going to cheat and watch it before tonight, and I'm glad I did not. Because it was on the edge of my seat, which I'm sure Jess saw that I was actually doing one of these. And it's not my first Orson Welles. I've seen many Orson Welles, which is so bizarre that I've never seen this though. Going back to what Jess said too, is there. It was confusing for a while there, where that's why I think I had to do a lot of this. You know, like what? But some of the scenes I really caught on quick. The little kid scene, that scene got me big time.
That really had me so.
Holy
That
cow.
had me so sad.
Yeah, I was like,
I felt my lip doing like the curl of just like.
oh, you talking about the one in the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about the young
No,
kid.
the shining shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The shining shit.
yeah, I was like, okay.
That kid's from the Shining. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah.
And once again, you know, the language barrier there was there, but you knew what this kid was screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, whoa. You know,
Certainly, like,
and,
don't scream that at me.
yeah, no. And I just thought there was some, I gotta go back and watch it again because I have a lot of what the, you know, is coming out of me. But I'm sure we'll talk about this later on, but some of the scenes I just thought were bizarre, like they're taking Anna away and they're like, here's your lipstick. And I'm like,
Yeah. Right.
there's some really bizarre little things that were just added into it, but and I think it added to the movie too because it kept, like you said, you just kept going, huh? You know?
So let me ask you, because this wasn't your first time with an Orson Welles film, do you remember what your first Orson
It
Welles?
was,
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it
Do you
was.
remember do you remember when in your life was the first time that you got to see that?
that was a long time ago, kids. My kids. I want to say I was in high school, or if not middle school. So we're going way back to the 80s. Yeah, late 70s, 80s.
Yeah. So that's cool. So you still saw it in a pretty raw.
Yeah, yeah, and now it's kind of making me want to go back and see it again too, because I only watched it that one time way back then.
You know what? And it's funny, if anybody has one of last month's film club flyers, they can see that I actually wanted to show Citizen Kane for this, but I had to backpedal because it's just way too long. We wouldn't have started doing the podcast till 1:30 in the morning. And, so I saved us all on that.
You can't do that to us. Shit.
Exactly.
Appreciate you.
Second time we've done that for everybody. Second time.
That's true.
First one was Seven Samurai.
Yeah, we did almost we almost screened Seven Samurai.
3.5 hours.
Yep.
Oh my.
And you just broke the microphone rule, so strike one.
Don't worry, you can hear him.
You can hear me.
He doesn't even do fucking.
I don't need a mic. I'm on it.
Guys, leave us a comment if we should just stop giving Danny a microphone.
Leave a comment if we should just get wireless lavaliers for everyone.
I don't know what I would do with my hands.
You'd be
Though.
like, my
Oh,
hand.
I would be so well, you see, in the movie.
That's why I want this. Because I talk with my hands all the time. That's why I want them.
Oh,
As you
no.
guys can see, I still have the microphone. That means it's not.
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Loud and clear, baby.
Oh.
Wait a minute, hang on a second.
Yo, actually, we gotta keep going.
We got to keep rolling this way.
Alicia, first time to Film Club. Thank you for joining us tonight.
How are the nerves?
Oh, I feel good.
Good.
So, before I get you into the question part of this, I want to just get a little synopsis about you. Can you tell us a little bit about you as an artist in your endeavor in the Artsy Alicia site that we were so lucky to check out before?
Oh, yes. I typically go to markets and craft fairs and stuff like that to sell stickers and prints and originals. So I created a Shopify, and so I sell stuff on there now. And then I also go to fairs and stuff. The best one I went to was an anime convention last year, Retro Matsuri in Concord, New Hampshire.
Love that. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, was this your first time with either the Third Man or Orson Welles in general?
I think I've seen other Orson Welles stuff, but it's the first time DC third man.
Okay.
And I was very caught off when I heard German because I speak a little German.
Oh,
Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch.
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah. A little bit of German. I learned German in high school and then a little bit in college. So
Pretty cool.
yeah, I went to Germany for 9 days. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, let me ask you, and I'm sure you have like eclectic taste as an artist, but if you like, if somebody had a gun on your head, what would you say like your favorite kind of movie is? Like, what's your favorite like genre or an example of a movie that you hold close?
Animated movie.
Okay. Love
I love Perfect Blue by Stevie
Oh.
Vaughn.
Let's
Such a
go.
good movie.
Wow.
My favorite. Yeah, I love the way they use like the warm tone colors against the cool tone in the beginning to really make you like get on edge, and like they have flashing colors. They do that on purpose. To
Yeah. If you haven't
make your
seen
brain
Perfect Blue, that'll make you sweat.
Yeah, very good.
That's great. So let me, oh, sorry, I just got distracted by people.
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I had the ADHD.
Well, it's like the polar opposite. We do 2 podcasts a week. One of them we do in the studio, the other one we do in a Zoom where we're on display for people all the time. So it's quite the opposite effect. So being like an animated feature film, a black and white film noir is a little bit out of the realm, perhaps. So how did you enjoy this, and how did it like? How was the payoff for you when it was all said and done?
Yeah, I took a great American films class. I watched all types of noir films and classic movies. Like we watched Some Like It Hot. We watched Schindler's List.
Wow,
Yeah, we watched a lot of like cool, like interesting movies.
that is dope. That's
Yeah,
like
I
my
love
dream job.
movies. Me and my husband love movie lovers.
Yes. Oh. So how was this one for you?
It was good, yeah. I felt myself like, I don't know, kind of picking up on what the German people were saying.
That's a cool perspective.
Without looking, being like what they say on my phone.
That's interesting. So you didn't even have to get lost in the confusion the same way the rest of us were, because you were kind of a little bit environmentally in their zone.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Like even if I didn't really understand what they were saying, I kind of like got what they were meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, like ich weiß nicht means I don't know.
Okay.
So the lady was like, ich weiß nicht. I was like, I know what she said.
Oh, that. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad this. That's a very unique perspective, so I'm glad that you were here to share that with us. That's really cool. I definitely am gonna have some interesting questions for you as we get down the line. Robert, I gotta ask you. My right hand man, literally tonight, but my right hand man in general. I've got a lot of experience with Orson Welles in general, and I have a pretty rich understanding of the works of Orson Welles. Now, going into this one, knowing that we're going to do a little bit of one making the industry well.
I've seen it for about a decade, and how I don't know if it's filming. For that's so more.
Yeah, it's very different for any film, honestly.
And seeing that Molly the American writer, Westerns, I try to put myself. I try to look at the moments if it was a Western.
No, the other one.
Because the music made it sound like never from John.
I can totally get that.
Yeah, and he is the writing of books, hell writer,
Yeah.
coming into town.
Oh,
Found that.
found it.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Which part?
So it's the last thing you said.
Oh, it's a great film.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I don't know if you guys are picking us on the mic. It's a little loud. Cool. So let me follow up. Do you remember what your first voice was about? Like what made your life?
In school, I was lucky enough to have a phone professor named Observer. He was a lover of films. And he had a an epic DVD collection. So he found every criterion until that time. And he sat me down once and said, here's his. And he did that. I was a very budding filmmaker, and I still hadn't seen it. I think it was young to appreciate filmmaking. Later on, I realized that wow, the narrative is almost like rational, where we never get a true, personal of King. Anyways, so from there, just would lend me DVDs, lend me the third man. So that was probably, I mean, it's not well directed, but I mean, he would send me the other cast.
I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's pretty crazy to get put on to Kane High School. That's pretty impressive. I feel like high school is such a formative time so that the fact that you were able to comprehend that and like take it all in, definitely like speaks a lot to your head, for sure. I think a lot of high school people could sat through that and like gotten out of it what you could get from it. I love that. That's exciting. What a cool range of viewing experiences with this. And so this is going to be kind of interesting. So we're going to kind of freestyle a little bit because, as we mentioned, the scope of tonight's program is the appreciation of Orson Welles. This is going to come out on like the day before what would be his 111th birthday. However, with people that are like newer or less familiar to Orson Welles' body of work, I do want to take time to spotlight certain things from the feature that we watched as well, because hopefully that's going to give people a sense of gravity to want to chase out some of these more notable pictures, if you will, or even just pictures that Welles had more involvement in. This was like a really cool one. He was able to show up and act, and him doing like a day of acting completely transformed a movie that could have gone left at any point. But obviously, having gone through the history we went through, it's like to see something that he directed himself or something that he wrote himself is like that. That's when you'll really get the weight of like why this guy is so highly lauded in pop culture and history in general.
If you take the time just to sit down and watch this, I'm sorry, but what, 15, 20 minutes of screen time that he actually has in this, he absolutely slays that.
Yeah, it makes the whole movie.
Like, he didn't need to be in the whole movie to make the movie, just that little bit that he was in, like your first introduction, he's in the doorway.
Yeah.
And then you just get that cheeky little little grin. Like, I don't know what it is. Like everything. When I saw that, it just made me smile.
Me too. Can you imagine having seen this in theaters though, where it was like you saw the poster, you saw Orson Welles on the poster. He's one of the biggest names. You go into a theater in 1949, and it's like you're 30 plus minutes deep going, where the hell is this guy? He's got to be in the movie. What is going to happen? You know that something's got to happen. You genuinely don't know what. And I just like, I wish I could have had that like raw theater experience. Of like, I'm almost getting frustrated at being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, one quick thing. One of our viewers tonight, I don't know if you heard her, she said, I thought Orson Welles was in this movie. And I'm like sitting here going,
And they left in the middle of the movie.
yeah, and I was sitting here going, so, and you're right, that doorway scene, I was just like, I was already and I really was amazing.
Yeah, essentially the film not only is startling because of the reveal of Orson Welles, but it's also the reveal that Terry Long locked
Right.
and the cinema payoff warming up to Terry Long, and then using that with the cat.
Walking around his feet. Yeah.
And so even before the reveal, you know that the cat is Terry.
Yeah.
And just it's just iconic.
Right. Because he's standing there like, I know you're there, reveal yourself, whoever you are. But the cat clearly gives it away of who it is because of how friendly the cat is after the earlier statement in the movie. The cat was only friendly with Harry.
Yes.
So, and since we're talking about that scene, you might appreciate this with me, but the use of shadow and lighting in that to create the scene, and I didn't realize that it was actually called something until I started doing photography and video myself. But that doorway was shot at a Dutch angle, which like gave it like that like mysterious kind of like look, like feel to it, and I don't know, like that scene right there, I absolutely love that scene.
Yeah, there are a lot of Dutch angles.
Dutch angles.
It's almost like you're watching Mr. Arcade. You know?
Oh, we got timed out. Well, I jumped ahead in the notes again.
Did I do that again?
No, I like to hold a precedent on this program. Much like people that come to film club, our audience is super varied in their understanding of film and cinema culture. So because both of you guys just used Dutch angles as a term, I need one of you guys to explain to us and the audience what that is so that we can continue.
I was waiting for the call out on this, just like the blocking.
Educational call. That's what we're here for.
It's all good.
Pressure's on.
To answer your question, Dutch angling is where the parallel line to the bottom of the screen, so like your door frame usually would be parallel to your bottom of your screen. It is shot at an angle.
Okay.
So that way it is no longer parallel to the bottom, and it gives you distortion, it gives you tension, it gives you that like, why are we just, it really, like, to me it adds like a sense of like distortion, because you kind of look at the screen going, what's going on? That confusion, like we were talking about earlier, not being able to understand the language, creating that confusion. That is my take, what I believe. I don't know if Robert has anything he wants to add to
No,
it.
but that's super helpful. Because it's like I did notice those shots, but even I had no idea that's what that was called.
Yes, even earlier, like there was a shot where he was just like walking down the street, and it was kiltered a little bit.
Yeah.
And just to like kind of give you a disillusion or kind of like distort like the frame of thought, like why are we doing this? Like,
Yeah.
and to me, like in certain scenes, it adds like suspense to it. Because if you notice, like the door shot, It was angles.
Yeah.
That ditch, that
Well, you kind of GPSed us into my next question. This is going to be for the 3 first-time viewers tonight. And you can't feel Danny's answer that he just gave it to you, so I don't want to hear no Dutch angle. You guys. Just kidding.
I know, we know all about it.
For your first time watching this, what was the thing that stood out to you the most? You would think I just asked like some like arithmetic problem or something.
She would have had the answer to that.
What a nerd!
You're talking about the actual filming aspect of it.
It doesn't have to be a technical thing. It could be a story thing. It could be a character thing. It could be stylization, soundtrack, whatever. Just what was the thing that stood out to you, just as a movie?
Style, definitely. Like one of my favorite scenes was when Anna's walking down the tree-lined street there, and it just seemed like she was walking forever and ever, and it was just an amazing scene. With that, I just thought there was so many ones. Oh God, the scene of him crawling up the stairs in the sewer, trying to grab the grate, and I was like, it was just phenomenal. Just the angles they got. And I don't know anything about, whatever, but now I do. But just
you don't know how to double Dutch rudder?
whoa, yeah. But honestly, some of those scenes were just like so intriguing. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. The sewer one really got me because you just see him grabbing and going at it, and I thought that was pretty intense.
I like that. I like that alley-oop right there. It was pretty intense. So what was the thing that stood out to you the most seeing this for the first time?
I think it was refreshing to see the black and white movie. The values they use. It's in grayscale. They had to make like the dark star. It's like. But yeah, I like the costumes. The very like noir.
That's so funny you said that. I was in my head being like, the styles of this are so cool. My man had the overcoat that he just didn't put the sleeves on, just hanging off the shoulders. I was like, oh, I want that. All the pea coats. This movie had me wanting to change. I was going to throw my whole wardrobe away.
A man dressed like a man.
Exactly. I honestly, as we go through film club, you guys will realize I secretly just want to be home. That's all.
I don't doubt that.
That's
For some reason, I'm not surprised.
I just want that mid-Atlantic fake movie accent and the best 1950s style of always wearing over jackets and crazy hats. That's gonna be my season 2 of Hellhound Film Club. I'm gonna look like the biggest douche noz imagined. I'm gonna love every movie.
And I'm gonna come dressed like Jim Carrey from The Mask.
I don't hate that.
That big yellow, like that bright yellow suit, big hat, the feather coming out of it.
Alright, let's not get too far off track, but we'll watch Harley Nights and we all come in suits. Let's go! Can I just go until I get to the plug button? Yeah. Good thing I left this background music playing the whole time too, so you guys don't have to let it go. What?
I was thinking about that. Maybe we went to that screen.
Yeah. The great producer from our show forgot to shut it off, and so did I, so God damn it, we do, damn it, we don't.
Great producer didn't turn it on, so great producer didn't. Not in his ADHD brain to remember.
I gotta write a note next time. Well, actually, audience, tell us if you like the music under the pre-conversation part of the show. If you guys dig that, obviously, Hellhound Publishing is a record label, so we'll put some music in that little soundscape that you guys dig. You know, we're upgrading the show every week.
We got producers.
You guys got to comment and let us know what we think. We got a producer.
We got producers. We can make this. No, I'm talking producers to make us a beat.
Oh yeah,
We got producers to make us a beat.
True that.
You need original.
All right, so this next question is for the initiator.
What did she?
Well, oh,
She got scared and skipped.
that's right. You threw off the order. That's why.
Right.
I got kind of anxious. What was the question?
No.
He was.
She goes. You're gonna skip me? Okay, don't skip me. But what was the question?
You were using Penvis to do the math question. She apparently was using Common Core math.
Oh God, get out of here! Take you and your 2000s children and their homework the hell out of my life. But as a first time watch, what do you feel like was the thing that stood out to you the most?
I know I definitely was watching it and I was like, why stop? That's not what I meant, but in my mind, I just kept remembering how I was commenting to myself about how everyone was so gorgeous. I was just like, I love that time period. I love how everyone is just so beautiful. No one had any gaps. I just don't know how it's possible like that.
Nobody had any flaws or left the house in like fucking sweat.
Right. Everyone was always well put together.
Nobody in the 1950s was wearing SpongeBob sweatpants at the shopping mall.
Yeah, right.
It's like when the police came and knocked on her door and she got out of bed.
She was already dressed, but threw on the robe.
Throws on the robe and her hair's still perfect from the day. Like nothing's out of place. And they're like, "Oh, get dressed. We're heading down." And the clothes were already out, ready to go.
So it was like an etiquette where it was like you don't leave the house looking like a piece of shit. You know what I mean? It's like you go out into the world and respect the people that you're going to deal with. Part of respecting people is presenting yourself, at least at that time.
Right. No,
Now-
out in your little lemons.
Our social decorum is at a different point this day and age, but it's nice to be able to look back and be like, oh man, it would have been cool. It's like, could we have 50s style and technology with modern day technology? That's the world I need to live in, because I don't want to live in like, because this is what happens when you, especially as a film noir fan, you start like really like daydreaming and acknowledging, like, it'd be so cool in the 50s. I would love to live in a shitty New York four-bedroom apartment and gamble my life away, whatever. And then like regular people that don't watch movies will be like, yeah, well the world was in a really bad place at that time. We were just getting out of war. We were still in segregation. We had like corruption and so it's like, you know what? I would like to have Humphrey Bogart style, but be cool with gay marriage and like things that we're like dealing with today. You know what I mean? It's like let me get equality and style at the same time. Let me get a 1950s Ford car, but let me still be able to do Ford Astro. That's the world I want to live in.
I'm over here thinking like, yeah, let's do drive-bys on the friggin' 1950s car. You're over here like, let's DoorDash on this bitch.
Noticed too that the brothel, how properly dressed the ladies of the night were too. I'm like looking at it going, oh my goodness, it's a brothel, but they're like dressed. So just going right back to that, everybody was proper looking, even the ladies.
You even said it, ladies of the night. You didn't call them derogatory shit. There wasn't, it's like exactly, yeah. Even first thing that exactly said, even sex workers is nicer than some of the shit you used to say. Like the lady of the night. That's like Elliot. It's like you have sex for money. I don't care. You're a lady of the night. You should be on Broadway in a big flowing gown. Yeah, exactly. Straight up.
Batman.
Somebody say Batman.
Yeah, Batman. But sex worker, Batman in the city.
I am night worker. I am the worker of the night. I am the dick knight.
So this one's for the initiated here. This is for Orson Welles. I've seen a few of these movies in my lifetime. I kind of asked you guys this already, but this is your time to get a little more in depth if you want. But what was your first time with an Orson Welles movie, and do you remember how it made you feel after seeing it for the first time?
Citizen Kane, 1999, rented it. I didn't even rent it. Actually, my friend I was working with at Blockbuster, he had rented it because he told me I had to sit down and watch it. And I was like, nah, man, I'm good. And he was like, yo, I got smoke. Come to the house. If you want to smoke, we're gonna watch this movie with me. And I'm like, well, I don't have any, and I want to, so I guess I'm not watching this movie, which changed my perspective in movies drastically to the point the following week I used one of my rentals on The Third Man.
Oh, I love
If that tells you what Citizen Kane did for me originally, so
I love hearing that because you said something that struck a chord with me too, because you had said something about like it was nice to see a black and white movie. And it's like I don't even think like that because I just watch so many movies that like black and white and color like doesn't faze me anymore. But I do recognize in a lot of my friends, peers, family, whoever, that like that is like if you were born in the time of color television, which all of us were, it's a weird thing to go backwards and find, you know what I mean? It's like we don't go on old computers and look for great technology. You know what I mean? It's like, but this is like one of those rare human things in life where it's like the further you go back, the more you understand how we got to where we got to. And I think that like a movie like this for sure, Orson Welles in general, is one of those people that you just like, none of us truly like can grasp how much of an impact he's had on the world that we live in today. Like the world. The man died in '85, and still for the last 30 plus years, you hear his name, you hear Citizen Kane, you hear his narration in commercials, movies, and animated features. He was doing work that came out. Like he was like on some Tupac shit where he
just gonna use that name.
Yeah.
The exact same name I was just
the work that started to come out posthumously after the fact. So that's really cool, and I love that. Even 20 some odd years later, that now you can look at it with a new perspective, but still appreciate how you like got to that.
For me, when I say this, I'm gonna make it sound like super old, because it just sounds funny. So, pre-turn of the century, I was not a huge black and white fan. I was actually more of like, nah, I'm good, I'm all set. But working at Blockbuster, Citizen Kane being one of them, like I said, 12 Angry Men being another one, those set the rabbit hole of black and white styles. So now, I kind of, the way you are, it's like, I don't even see it as like a black and white or color. I just see it as, you know what I'm saying? But there was a point in my life where somebody would be like, yeah, let's watch this movie, and then I could find out it's black and white, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm all set.
Yeah.
Where I'm grateful now that somebody has changed that for me, because there's movies that I've seen now, you know, over the course of the last 26 years.
Yeah.
That I'm super glad that I now have in my repertoire movies I've seen, because I would have never watched them if I would have had that same mentality.
Yeah. Well, it's like, dude, we mentioned Seven Samurai before. Can you imagine somebody not wanting to watch Seven Samurai because it's in black and white and it's 3 hours long?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, and subtitled.
Yeah.
Any one of those things would make somebody be like, I'm good, I'm out.
And that's actually the trifecta
Yeah.
of all the reasons why somebody probably would not watch it.
But yet it's one of the best movies of all time, much like Citizen Kane. You know, so I don't want to get too far off track, but I appreciate the sentiment of what you said and how it's grown with you. It's awesome. I would like to ask you next, Sammy. What was your first time with the Orson Welles movie, and do you remember how it made you feel after the fact? That was a pretty during the session.
Turn the switch on here. As I was trying to think if it was middle school or beginning of high school that I saw it. I know I watched it with my parents. And
That's Citizen Kane.
yes, since and I have to be super honest with you guys that I mean I know how awesome Orson Welles is. I'm very familiar with obviously War of Worlds and stuff like that, but I've never really educated myself on him. So listening to you give the biography of him, and it now makes me want to. Okay, and I thank you for that. I appreciate you for that. I remember watching it with my family and like a family night thing, and kind of going, okay, why is mom and dad making me do this? But by the end of the movie, I was once again like this movie, I was like, whoa, you know, and I think that's my, I'm at the whoa factor again now, so I can't wait to do another movie.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's and Robert, you kind of tapped into it, but I would love to know, like, especially at that age in life, right? Because you had even mentioned that you were like in the earliest years of like discovering filmmaking and stuff like that. So to be on this journey where you're learning how to make movies and you have a mentor, like a teacher who's like putting you on a game, to come across a movie, I think you said Citizen was your first one, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking of that or
Okay, that's interesting. We can definitely get into that. But do you remember at all like how that left you feeling after you watched that? Like was there like a significant impact of like, whoa, this is not like the other movies I've watched that got me to this place of wanting to be a filmmaker?
as a 16-year-old who couldn't appreciate the aesthetic narratively, I was underwhelmed. That's my honest. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting place to come from because you were young, but you were studying film, so you were at this real kind of peculiar place on the axle, if you will. So, do you remember like how much later in life your appreciation started to turn?
I appreciated it first once. It was a matter of appreciating Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
But I think after the order was something like Touch of Evil, F Fake, which is my favorite Orson Welles film.
Good call.
And I probably went, Late Shanghai Trial, like that.
Why?
Yeah.
And even though his filmmaking style changed over the years, and especially in necessity, like the story of filming of Manila, where there's a conversation, and one person is filming, in Spain, and then the reverse shot was shot 100 miles away 2 years later. Because you could not always get the actors together, the money together. He wanted his movies by
Yeah. Well, and I like that you said that too, because that I didn't get to bring that up in the pre-conversation part, but like I did get to mention the fact that he was using his radio earnings to invest in his theater plays so that he wasn't dependent on funding that was going to stifle his creativity. And he carried that, like Robert said, much like John Cassavetes, another one of our favorites. John Cassavetes is probably the reason Hellhound Film Club exists, honestly. That was the first episode we ever did. Me and Robert and a couple of our friends sat around the round table for an hour and a half, just nothing over how free Cassavetes is. But there's an artistic integrity to, like, Orson Welles was a prodigy already. He could have just been one of the wealthiest creative people of all time, but instead he was constantly risking it to do the next thing
and to continue challenging the people who was normally be putting the money up. You know, even from Citizen Kane, he was challenging people in Citizen Kane so bad that there was press junkets to ban the movie from being mentioned in newspapers and all sorts of shit. Like it was real life serious, and so there's something that really like strikes a chord with me with that of like, you know, all of us would love to earn a living from our art. How many of us would have the courage to take that money and reinvest it into art again to get a bigger outcome and a more powerful station? Not everybody is that comfortable that they can do that. That's an insane risk. Say that again?
Risk taker.
Absolutely. That's, you know, in a lot of ways, that's what being an artist is about. Rap friends from Cody Pope, but I figure that's a little too pretentious. We literally in the song, we literally say it's from our artists, creatives, and risk takers, ones who do it for the art, even when it don't make paper. That's
Did it anyway.
yeah. Well, I'm still poor. You guys don't listen to my music enough. I don't have enough streams online, and so I gotta push my rap music and do podcasts until I can pay my rent. That's where I'm at in life. So I know you guys were super interested in my answer to that question, so I'll just be brutally honest with you guys. I was in my early teenage years when I saw Citizen Kane for the first time. I had absolutely no idea who Orson Welles was. The only reason that I went and saw Citizen Kane was purely because it had been mentioned in pop culture numerous times. I was a huge fan of The Simpsons. Still love The Simpsons. The Simpsons would mention Citizen Kane. And so it was like one of those things like, man, what are we talking about? I don't get it. It's like you would watch Cheers, you would watch Friends, you could watch any TV show of any genre or whatever medium, and at some point there's going to be a Citizen Kane, like, oh, this is my Citizen Kane, you know? And so as like a teenager, I just was like, it was almost like annoying of like, why don't I get this? What is this about? And I lived walking distance from a Blockbuster. I went and rented it, and I think I could like, I didn't have an aversion to black and white movies as a kid. Fortunately, I got into Twilight Zone really young, and so Twilight Zone, because it was like an easily accessible thing and be in like marathon mode on like weekends and shit. Black and white wasn't an issue, but because of my age, I just didn't chase down older movies like that. You know, I was born in the end of the 80s, so it was like I was chasing 90s action movies, I was chasing superhero movies, you know, sci-fi shit, whatever. Like, I was looking for adventure, and Citizen Kane was one of the movies that really, like, forced me to slow down at an age where it's the hard, like, you're jittering at 13 years old, 14 years, you're constantly on the go, you're jittering, you're running around your house, you're beating the wall, like you're skateboarding 17 miles a day, whatever it was. Like everything in life was fast paced. And then I saw that movie, and that was one of the first things that like gave me life perspective. To be like, bro, slow down, read the whole thing, listen. You don't gotta get the thought. Just stop. Just let it's like. Movies have taught me so much, and one of the things that I've picked up from movies is like social etiquette and social decorum. Because you're watching grown-ass people who were living life decades before you and how they treated people. And so it's like, am I gonna be like my asshole schoolmates and we all yell at each other and talk over each other and don't give a shit about anybody's well-being? Or am I gonna take what these movies are showing me, lessons of good and bad, and how to understand that somebody that's good could be corrupt and vice versa. You know, it really taught me a lot about how to process characteristics and personality traits of people. And so it's interesting that, like, yes, Citizen Kane is like one of the most prolific movies of all time, but it also just happened to be like one of the most impactful to me personally too, because I don't know how many movies would have pushed me to, like pop culture essentially pushed me to go see Citizen Kane because I just needed to know what it was about.
So that was that was how I got here on the Orson Welles training 2 years ago now.
I am so grateful for that in-depth insight on what you took from movies. Because I just learned what to do to get, not to do if I want to get away from murder.
The Danny perspective.
Don't do this to get away with murder.
We gotta get a stamp for the screen that just says the Danny perspective. Opinions provided in the Danny perspective are not those of the program and the guests.
Oh, we're gonna get the tally marker. We're gonna get that going up in the corner.
Yeah, as soon as you guys sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/Hellhound
And then you'll be able to go on to Kalish and put your bets in on how many mistakes I make with the over and under.
That URL because they don't pay us.
Not yet.
No free plugs. All right, so I got another question for the initiated, and then a follow-up question for my new first-time ticket rippers tonight. So for the initiated, we'll start with you.
Sounds good.
What is your favorite acting performance for Orson Welles?
My favorite?
Yeah.
Third Man.
Okay.
15 minutes screen time, absolutely slays. And the cuckoo speech.
Okay, I take
Cuckoo
that.
speech. I absolutely love it.
I can't hate it because it's a great acting term. Despite how condensed it is, he does so much with that time. So it's like
That's part of the reason. It's so little, but so much. So, and to me, that's part of like you can say.
what a podcast here.
So, like to be able to do that, and a lot of his scenes are also quiet scenes too in this, and like just his facial expressions, the way that he presents himself on screen is super powerful. So, Third Man is my pick.
It's so cool. Fucking
In the box truck.
Sammy, do you have a favorite Orson Welles acting performance?
Like I said, my initial was family night movie, and had forced to watch it, but still was like an awe over it. But I have to tell you, I'm with Danny on this. I mean, it's not in the majority of the movie, and then when he does show up in the movie, he just takes it over,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. Yeah, seriously, he sucked me in, and I got really sucked in. And I know Justin, I was like, seriously,
Oh, I love that. It makes me so stoked.
I was like, yeah, this movie, and I'm gonna watch it again because there's so many more questions. I have about that. So.
Yes. Let's do a follow-up episode for Patreon.
Here we go.
We can all jump in for and do a watch episode. That would be fun.
Robert, I need to ask you, what is your favorite acting performance for Orson Welles?
That would be the commercial.
Oh my god. That is wow. That was so good, dude. What a great choice. Holy shit.
Let's hear it.
One day we're gonna be able to just pull clips up on the show. This would have been the perfect time to play that clip, right? That is one of the funniest shows ever. Yeah. Holy shit.
So, for context, if you haven't seen it, Orson Welles got shit-faced drunk and did a commercial. What was it for? It wasn't a champagne thing. It was like a food product. I think so. I can't remember. It was for something like super commercial, and he was like a spokesman for it. And he literally is just like shit tanked going through takes. I'm like, hey, and he just gets it's
So that would be for Paul Mason wine commercial.
okay.
Paul Mason
Paul
wine
Mason
commercial.
wine.
Oh my gosh, it is so funny. Please please at home when this episode is done, open a new tab and watch that for yourself because it's hilarious.
I mean, I have it, but it's definitely on YouTube, and if I screen share it,
Yeah, we're definitely getting it.
we're gonna get it all.
That's why you guys gotta look it up on your own. So I have my choices for favorite, but I also have some runner-ups too.
Don't worry, if you're here at the end of the podcast, we will play it in private. Yeah. For the people that are
We'll project it before we shut down. So for my favorite acting performances, I had to choose Charles Foster Kane. That was what put me into the Orson Welles universe, and to basically accurately portray a real life person that you despise and are making a movie to ruin his life, and to play that character so well is like really like sadistic but phenomenal like acting scope to have. I also needed to mention that recorded before he passed away, but released after he passed away, Orson Welles is the voice of you. Transformers the movie. Yep.
Really?
And fun fact about that, as a kid, Transformers the movie was one of the first movies I cried watching.
Very emotional.
It is. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I gotta watch that again.
Yep. And I had to shout out, he plays Gregory Arkadin in Mr. Arkadin, which is a newer movie to me. I hadn't seen that till actually today was the first time I watched it. And he plays a really interesting character in it. And the movie has like a really interesting story. There's like 3 different cuts of the movie, and you can all together. And it's like one was how he intended, one was like the studio interference cut, and then one was like the posthumous like re-release cut or something like that. So it's pretty interesting that he was able to bring the same essence to a movie that got hacked up so many different times. My runners-up, and the reason they're runner-ups is because I haven't had the chance to see these performances yet. However, they're the ones that I most look forward to completing next. I need to see Lady from Shanghai, like you mentioned. I know that is like definitely one of his more revered. Macbeth and Othello. I need to see Macbeth and Othello because Orson Welles' propensity for adapting Shakespeare works prior to getting into film was clearly second to none. And so that's his world. Like, that's where he comes. And you can see it in his acting. Like, he comes from a very Shakespearean presentation. And so to see film adaptations of what he would do with Shakespeare is definitely, like, I feel like that is very uncomfortable in terms of, like, he's versatile enough to do anything, but, like, he's Shakespearean at heart. And so those are just, like, perfect adaptations in my question for first timers. I guess this would be you three because this was your first time seeing this as well. So let's start with you. You seem like you're ready to go. I like this. I was gonna make Jess start, but I know she was gonna cringe if I made her start. Oh, now it depends on the question.
Yeah, I move all the time.
I love it. What did you find to be the most interesting thing about the Harry character?
That's the main baddie, right?
Yeah.
How mysterious he is. I like the scene with the cat. That was very cool.
I love that. That made me so happy. Don't be so lost, Sammy.
Same question?
Yeah, what was the most interesting thing about Harry Lime specifically?
Well, first off, it was a mystery. So that was just very interesting about him, and the fact that we find out more about him later in the movie. And that he was actually very evil. And his Disney, he didn't really care about Anna as much as Anna cared about him. That hurt my heart. I was just like, she loved him so much. Bastard.
Right?
I was like, bastard. And I think that was the biggest part about him is that everybody kind of revered him. Then we find out the outcome and
Yeah.
his building.
Yeah. It's like you just
To his good
champion,
friend and to his girl. I mean, so it was just like, man.
seriously, just championing the wrong person. at the
Exactly.
time. So I like that, Jess.
That's exactly what it was. I was so disappointed that he was the bad guy. I was hoping that like there was a reason why his murder was faked and everything.
Right? So it kind of caught you off guard.
Yeah.
That, like, I like that. That is really cool because it's like you are kind of expecting it to be revered and for somebody to like be punished for that, and so it kind of outcome turns around. and comes down.
But I also love the cat scene too.
Yes.
Like, instantly, as soon as I saw the cat, like, yeah.
Fine.
As soon as I saw the cat scene, I was like, oh, my cat's tomorrow.
He probably is just like that.
Oh yeah, she's
I need my snacks.
she's at the door being like, I'm bored. Come home, please. Wow, I guess we're doing pretty good on the time for this episode. Sheesh, this conversation pretty flew by. I got a couple more questions for you guys, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much, by the way. Danny was just nice enough to let me know that we podcasts are usually over time. But,
I was trying to be slick and do that quietly behind the scenes.
I know, I appreciate it, and you know what?
I appreciate it.
Hellhound, yeah, Hellhound Film Club is beholden to the rules that we make. And so if we want to go longer than an hour, nobody's going to stop us. Do you know why?
Because every night was a little bit different.
Wrong show, but same sentence. What he's trying to tell you is that you guys can also tune in on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube and watch Cody Central live and join us and help us make authority. So this question is for the initiated, and so I think I'm gonna start with. I want you guys to kind of think about this.
Okay.
I think this is going to be easiest for him to answer. That's why. What would be first Orson Welles based film recommendation for somebody brand new to this kind of film? Like, no, what would Orson Welles film would you recommend to somebody that's new to like watching movies and shit in general?
His filmography,
Yeah.
not necessarily that.
It could be whatever you feel. Which is what is the gateway to get somebody into Orson Welles?
Such a movie.
Okay. Can you give me a little breakdown of why? We haven't talked about that movie much, and it's a fascinating movie that I wish we had discussed more. So, why would that be your choice?
Well, thanks to the universal memo that he wrote, restored to besides pain, it's not like the Vegas story of Douglas, we're in control. That's probably the closest that it's also a very just solid film noir. And I think it's got because I don't mean the best reason said. No, just the way it walked into the camera. It's something you talked about. Especially the hotel room, where there are 5 or 6 different people, and there must be, dozens of cameras take. It's I just think the best example of technique
I think that's a great one. So
So yeah, so if you want to answer, you're welcome to answer too. So, you, the NASA.
Yeah, she didn't have an answer for this one.
Right.
All right, Danny,
We're gonna let the Danny talk.
my fellow Blockbuster coworker, my assistant manager at Blockbuster and Video Map.
What's going on, bro?
What would be your first Orson Welles based film you would recommend to someone for their first time?
This is just purely due to the fact that it's simply the one that got me into it. It's Citizen Kane. Like,
Okay.
that's my first one that I first experienced. I super enjoyed it, and like I said, that's what led me down the next rabbit. I feel like that's like the most legitimate answer ever.
No, well, so here's the thing. I can't hate. I'm not going to hate on your answer because I love the movie. Can I tell you why I didn't pick that? I'll tell you what I picked. The reason I didn't pick Citizen Kane as the first Wells movie to introduce somebody to is purely on length and weight. It's a very long movie, and so people that like watch more modern movies, their attention span is already inept as it is. We heard cell phones going off tonight. We heard conversations going off tonight. People's attention spans are different, and so my thought is like if I'm trying to get you into something, I need it to be as digestible and palatable as possible. Kane is, to me, is like, I would work up to it. I'd be like, let me show you this and this. And if you dig this, we're going to go to the back and make this. So, what I picked was, I picked The Stranger. I don't know if you remember The Stranger. From 1946. So earlier than this one. But he starred in it and directed in it. And in my opinion, film noir in general is like a very good entryway to get people into this kind of cinema, especially where as you get deep into the Orson Welles catalog, he takes a lot more bolder artistic choices and stuff like that. And so I think that The Stranger is like a palatable way to be like, this guy directs and acts. He's phenomenal at this, and it's like a digestible enough time frame for a movie to kind of get excited about what's there to come. It's like a really good appetizer, knowing that there's a bunch of great main courses.
Really, that's like you would introduce somebody with Rashomon, instead of Sunset.
Exactly. And a cool thing about the Stranger too is like not only is Orson Welles in it, but there's a great cast of like Edward G. Robinson and Loretta Young. I almost said Edward okay. So let me ask here. Oh, and I know this will be tougher to answer for people that just saw this for the first time tonight, so give it a shot. If not, no worries. What I would like to know from you guys is, with your whatever your experience is, and what we talked about tonight, why does Orson Welles still have so much of an impact in modern cinema today?
I'm gonna have to say it's filming technique and storytelling.
You have to do that. I like it.
I think those are things throughout his movies that continue to impact through his movies, and people still even look back and be like, oh wow, and then kind of they say like imitation is the most like sincere form of like flattery.
Yeah.
So like that's how I like that. That's the way I would see it. Because if I could shoot a movie and tell a story the way he could, I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
Yeah. But that
someone asked, of course, what, how did he know how to make a film?
So early ones like that. Then he screened John Ford's 1939 movie Stage over and just the hell out of it.
Dude, it's funny you said that because I feel like I was listening to a Martin Scorsese interview where he says something similar, where he was like, before I go on set for a new movie, I just will rewatch Stagecoach like over and over again. And that's so fun. Say that again.
I think I can't ever accept that as a name anymore.
My boy Marty.
Our boy Marty.
Shout out to Mike, the owner of the spot. Can we get an applause button?
Love you guys.
The sport! For making sure that our show doesn't get fucked up. Okay, we're really almost at the end of our segment here. Jess, are we skipping you? Is that
I don't know how to answer that question.
No worries, I'm not gonna press it. Do you have a thought on this? Yeah.
I think I do.
And let me preface it by saying that because of our conversations, I know that you experienced a lot of cinema and through its changes, you know? As a youth, you got to see some of the prime 70s and 80s cinema. You got to experience 90s and 2000s, you know, so it's like you've seen a lot of advancements in cinema, but you also were fortunate enough to like be somewhat tethered to, you know, like we were talking before, like my parents are in their 70s, and so I had an expectation of them to be like, well, at a certain age, you should be at the movies. You were alive for the best movies, you know.
Exactly.
So with that in mind, why do you feel like Orson Welles still has such like a powerful place in the modern cinema conversation?
Well, I think the shock of him and the fact that when we talk about the risk taker that he was, he kind of like threw things at people that we weren't expecting. And now I want to see more of him because you've opened my eyes with this one tonight too. I feel ashamed that I didn't check him out sooner than later, you know, but.
Now you get the surprise and the reward.
Right, and that's what's saying. I think he was such a risk taker that he didn't mind throwing something out to the world that could have been bad. I mean, Lord of the Worlds is a perfect example of what a scary ass thing to do to the world. And he did. And now I'm dying to see some of his movies now because obviously he took that chance there. And I think he was a chance taker. Yeah, he was.
I love that.
Yeah. Anyway.
So basically what we're talking about is, if you have a thought on it, why do you feel like Orson Welles still has such an impact in the conversation about modern cinema?
Well, I think because both were classics. I think that the way that he filmed everything and directed and starred and did all these things with his movies, it's like almost pioneering.
I love that. Fascinating word too.
Yes. Because like you don't really see a lot of like directors in their own movies.
Yeah, especially not in that capacity.
Yeah. I feel like Alfred Hitchcock would make a good cameo in some of the movies, like the birds. Yeah.
I love that. Robert, I want your answer to this question, but you made me think of something when you had you brought something up that made me think. When Wells was going to make this get to he had cinematographer Greg Toland, who was the cinematographer for Citizen Kane. And Greg Toland at that point was already like a pretty renowned cinematographer. And so when he decided to work with Orson Welles on Citizen Kane, Orson asked him, he was like, why did you want to work with me on this? And his answer was,
because you don't know how to make movies, so you don't know what the rules are. We can try anything, and I really feel like Orson like carried that throughout his career. And like, what a fascinating thing at that time, where I guess I didn't live it, so it's hard for me to say, but I would assume that the film industry was like much more volatile at that time in the sense of like, it wasn't like today where you could like build yourself up and become a celebrity or something. It was like, it was all time and place, opportunity, you know, taking a risk and putting yourself out there kind of shit. And so that whole like creative risk-taking thing just set off a whole legacy of, you know, phenomenal.
And just up front,
Because there's 4 lanes, right? Yeah, yeah. Play 4
Dannyism.
alone.
Danny is my film like,
You're gonna have to like, oh,
we already missed it anyways. It's gonna come back to you.
You gotta know each other.
So, one more question for my Cinevets, and then one question for everyone before we wrap this thing up. What 2 movies would you pick for the person
Third man just came away.
Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. Can you give us a little bit about why?
Rock, melted chopsticks. It's a punch.
Third Man simply because I've already stated that it's one of my favorite movies with Orson Welles in it.
Yeah.
Merely for the fact that it captures it from the gate. Casino Royale, just because it's not the typical Orson Welles movie that somebody would. That would be like one that I would throw in to try to like for somebody to see. Like they hadn't seen one before, that's something I would throw on, but I don't think it's one that would impact the way some of his other movies would with people.
Jamie, timestamp this, take that answer, edit it, put it back to the other question that this was the answer for, and bring it back. Cut. Now. And we're back.
So those would be my choice for a double feature.
Okay. Either of you three wanna toss anything out there? All right, let me pass it to Robert. Then I'm interested to Robert. What would, if you were programming a double feature of Orson Welles flicks? What would your 2 picks be? I adore that. Can you give me a little bit about why?
It both about story, epiphase, about the and it is a win is about the filmmaker produces the filmmaker.
Really, bro? You don't know what 3 liters means?
Carol Reed?
Anyway,
A little early there. Oh, okay.
John Huston thing playing kind of underlaid. And they cut it years after the film was approximation. But they're both about filming.
Yeah, I like that. Movies about movies kind of thing. I love movies. I've talked about it before. I love movies about old Hollywood and shit like that. And so movies about are kind of like so that's really cool. I didn't expect that, and I think that makes me more that's a really cool program to put together.
I really wanted to bring up the other side of it because it is available on Netflix, so
Yeah, that's true.
That mistake is to watch it along with the documentary that they put out in San Juan about Orson.
You gave me that look like you're like, I'm ready to answer. So I just asked you to. Yeah. It's your turn. So I had to break this down into 3 different segments. And I'll explain how. So, some of us in the cinema watching world enjoy some psychedelics once in a while, you know? Like to get back and have a good time. And so, if that was the vibe that I was programming for, my 2 choices would be The Trial and F is for Fate. If you haven't seen The Trial was done in like the early 60s, and it's Wells' take on Franz Kafka. And it has Andrew Perkins in the lead role. And exactly, yep. And he basically like has no conflict. He just like finds himself like locked away one day and has no concept of what is happening. People keep introducing themselves to him, and it throws him off even more. And so he has to go through this series of events. And then F is for Fate, much like Robert kind of just explained, is like a really peculiar like sleight of hand, like almost like documentary style film. So like watching those back to back is like pretty surreal, especially if you are not like in your straight state of mind. If you will.
What if that is my strange state?
Well played. Yes, you guys would be in the hippie jam outside with the boombox and the Grateful Dead.
Boombox? Man, I go boombox. I'll be out there with my bongos. Getting the drum circle going.
The mirror sequence from at the end of Lady in Shanghai, from right up there too.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either for different reasons. So yeah, so my psychedelics, so I will check out that. That was on my list of the Shakespeare ones to check out too. But yeah, so I'm a little bit on a different planet. I would say The Trial and F is for Fate. If I as I mentioned before, I really love film noir. So if I was in like a film noir specific kind of mood, I would go with Stranger, that I mentioned earlier, and Mr. Archivist. They're both really condensed, film noir heavy, like investigative story kind of thing. And so that is like, I feel like that's very much a vibe. If you're there for one, both of those are going to be really cool. And my final one, I called it sober, but it's really just, if you just care about movies and you want the breadth of what we're discussing, it would have to be Citizen Kane and The Other Side of the Ocean. I felt like those are kind of like the bookends of Orson Welles' film life in a lot of sense, you know? Citizen Kane being his first film, and Other Side of the Wind being posthumously completed decades after his death, kind of goes to show both sides of an artist that like, had such an impact on the world that we live in. So that's what I would program. As you guys know, I love programming features anyways, and that's why we're here every week. So we did watch The Third Man tonight. It seems like we all enjoyed it. So are you familiar with Letterboxd? Well, you must have missed the 3 seconds of the virtual Danny aired on accident.
Switching frames on switching tabs.
So, Letterboxd is like a social media app geared around movies. So you can review movies, you can log what movies you watch, you can keep a watch list of things you're interested in, and a lot of people from the film industry have Letterboxd. So like Martin Scorsese has a Letterboxd, and like when he's making a new movie, he'll make like a list of like, these are the 10 movies that inspired me to make the next movie I'm making. So it's like really cool stuff like that. So what we do to close out the show is so Letterboxd rated out of 5 stars. So basically what we ask everybody is like 1 to 2 sentences as your final thoughts on the movie, and what would you give it out of 5 stars? 5 being the most. Danny, we'll start with you.
We'll kick this off. I will give this movie a 4 out of 5.
Love it.
The cinematography, the filming, the use of the Dutch angle, the storytelling, some of the things that I absolutely loved about it, and I absolutely enjoy it. And
the ability to go back and rewatch. I love when I watch a movie. When I come here every week, I watch a movie and I go, God, how did I forget about this movie? And then all of a sudden, it's like, I'm home the next week, watched it twice.
4 out of 5, I love it. Jess, first time seeing The Third Man, first time seeing Orson Welles film potentially.
Always a first for me most of the time when
Came
I'm
in-
watching movies.
Came in with a little bit of concern, came out cool and calm and collected.
I'm also going to give it a 4, even though I got a little confused and kind of more just not on track with the movie in the beginning. I think it fit it really well because, and Danny was spot on about this. I think having the German language in there kind of just confused me a little bit because I'm like, oh, what are they saying? No subtitles with it, so I'm like, what are they saying? What's going on? But because of their acting, you can pick up what they're doing, what they're saying.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I see what's going on here. And just to see him as an actor was phenomenal. Like that was pretty cool. So I would rate it a
I love that. The admiration for the ridiculous.
It sounds like it's gonna be a unanimous night, and I didn't hear what you guys say. I'm gonna go for it also. Yeah, the confusing part actually kept me motivated to watch it. I'll tell you, I've got ADHD, like seems like a lot of people on this panel do. And I'll tell you, for me to focus on something and stay focused, which I did the whole entire movie, I just did not keep my eyes off of it. Visually, the Dutch angle, no, but visually it's spectacular.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Making
mean,
sense now.
well, no, I enjoyed the fact that you brought that, both you and Robert, and then not to mention your perspective on the lights of the grays and the darks and this and that is something that, yeah.
Interesting.
And that's something you don't take into play that they have played with light. You know, to make that scene with the Dutch. Sorry.
You don't just start a movie in Three Dutch Brothers. How many movies do you get that in?
Well, start calling it the Dutch too.
But it visually was a beautiful film. And it just kept me involved. It really did. It's a 4, solid 4.
I love it. Dude, when you just rolled up your sleeve right there, I thought you were going in for the double Dutch Brothers. I was like, not here, dude, not here.
Just so you know, the next time that we watch a movie and I see a Dutch angle, I'm gonna be that Leonardo DiCaprio. Yo,
I'm really yo.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Whoa, raising the bar.
Because of all the things that went into that movie, all the things you guys talked about. I think what would have been better is if the music wasn't so loud.
Oh, the score.
The score, yeah, the
Interesting.
score's very interesting, but I'm not sure if it fit very well into the movie. But if the movie didn't keep my attention, despite my short attention span.
especially we didn't talk about that before. So
Yeah, I feel bad. I really should have. The score was played on a zither and was done by one artist. The entire score. They played the whole thing on a zither. And you
More
can,
things research.
yeah, you can actually get
That
that
is-
in. Say remarkable.
I call it a heroic dose of the zither. Because either you love it or you don't. If you don't,
Okay, we're done. I gotta say like 9 point. Wait, we're on
yo, this movie took it to the low level.
When I know good, I gotta double the ranking.
Wow. 4.5 to 4.75.
Okay.
Raising the bar.
I just think the editing is fantastic. There's a lot of Eisenstein to the citizens.
Yeah.
And it's got so many great sequences. The only thing, and I'm gonna pick it, but I wish we had trusted the sound design a little bit more and left us music in his action sequences.
Yeah.
Because in the at the end, when it's just the sound of the in its levels, that's just the sound design, and there are other sequences. I wish you'd taken a page from Touch Me. It hasn't been made yet, I know.
Yeah.
But it's a good example. Otherwise, that last shot is wonderful. I love what it says.
Yeah.
I love what it doesn't say. And so I'll just give it 5. Why not?
Over the full 5. Let's go.
Yeah, what a run. And
So he went down.
no, he went up.
Well, he went down at 9.5, and I was at 5, so.
True. Bobby Robert. That's good. That's a good point. But man, dare I say, we were close to that beat. Existence, but not Existence. We had 2 5s.
Oh no, that's funny.
So Existence is still ranked high. I think this is up there.
I think this was the most consistent.
Yeah, this might be our second highest ranked movie
Is it?
for sure.
Because the Existence definitely was like a 3.5, 3.5, 5.5.
Right.
So I would say that like combined, it was probably ranked like with more points, but I think this one overall was this like consistent.
Party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't have any more.
Sure.
I don't have any more plastic bags.
What about you?
Okay.
You know, I'm trying to be good about saving them for a letterbox. Yeah. But no one's gonna see this until it's already on letterbox. So I guess I don't have to guide it too much.
You do still got to go to Letterboxd to read the whole review because I do go pretty in depth there.
Big shocker. Me writing and saying extra don't say. But I would say this is honestly this is like a 4.5 for me. I love film noir. Obviously, I love Orson. This hits all the marks for me. I do agree with you guys that the score is a little. How do I say? It's like. I don't know, it sounds kind of pretentious, but the score kind of like, depends on itself almost. Where it's like, yeah, it does belong to another film. And I respect the artistic choice because they were like, oh, we're going to challenge this one guy to create the entire sonic aesthetic of this film. Artistically, awesome, but that's the only reason I wouldn't go higher than a 4. But if you want to read my full in-depth review on this, all the movies we cover at Film Club, and the movies that I get to squeeze in my free time, please, I encourage you, get on Letterboxd and follow me at CODY Pope, and we're going to show you a quick little video that Danny didn't accidentally click before, and that way you can learn about Letterboxd and get involved.
Look at this fucking panel of cripples over here.
Give me a break, huh?
We didn't give them microphones, so you can't hear any of their sapping us.
Right?
So
No one wants to hear the griping anyway.
yeah. So as we do every time we close this show out, we're going to go over some screenings and event listings throughout wherever you are in the world. And as we always mention, if you have a special event screening in your area, a special cinema-related event, anything like that, please shoot us an email, hellhoundfilmclub@gmail.com. We'll be happy to plug your event and check it out and hopefully get some people to come out wherever you're at. So, without further ado, let's run through a couple events. You want me to kick this off, or do you want to kick this off?
Run it, brother.
All right. Friday, May 1st, School Days. There's going to be a special screening with Spike Lee, presented by Howard University at the Lincoln Theater, 1215 U Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. At historically black Mission College, the activist-minded Dap, played by Larry Fishburne, immerses himself in a world of political rhetoric and social movements. One day, he hopes to rally the students as a united front. At the other end of the spectrum, Julian, played by Giancarlo Esposito, the head of the biggest fraternity on campus, is more concerned with maintaining a strict social order. In between, Dap's conflicted cousin half-brother, played by director Spike Lee, spends most of his time rushing the fraternity. So you can check that out. Presented by Howard University. Students get discounted tickets. Everybody is welcome to go. And the legendary, iconic Spike Lee is going to be there live in person doing the Q&A after the film.
Sunday, May 3rd, Buster Keaton's Steamboat Bill Jr. screening with live music presented by Jeff Rapsis. Silent film accompanist composer at the Wilton Town Hall Theater in Wilton, New Hampshire. He never smiled on screen, earning him the nickname of the Great Stone Face, but Buster Keaton's comedies rocked Hollywood's silent era with laughter throughout the 1920s. See for yourself with a screening of Steamboat Bill Jr. from 1928, one of Keaton's landmark movies, on Sunday, May 3rd at 2 p.m. at the Town Hall Theater, 40 Main Street, Wilton, New Hampshire. The program is free and open to the public. A $10 donation per person is suggested to support the Town Hall Theater's silent film program. Live music will be provided by Jeff Rapsis, a New Hampshire-based silent film accompanist who performs regularly at screenings around the nation. The show is intended to give area moviegoers the opportunity to experience early cinema as it was intended on the big screen with live music and with an audience. What, my man? I said, good Lord, my man. In Steamboat Bill Jr., Buster plays a bumbling son of a gruff river boat captain with a rival brings a new boat to the river. The family is forced to face competition, just as Buster is forced to ride out a cyclone threatening to destroy the community. Can Buster save the day and win the hand of his girlfriend, who happens to be a daughter of his father's business rival? The film includes a famous shot of an entire building front collapsing on Keaton, who is miraculously spared by a conveniently placed second story.
Friday, May 8th, Empire Records, movie night party and screening presented by Boston Landing at Roadrunner in Boston, Mass. So the Boston Landing movie night featuring Empire Records kicks off the 2026 movie night series. It's a full 90s alt-rock takeover at Roadrunner. Get ready for the cult classic film, throwback music, and a night that would make Rex Manning proud. 5 o'clock, the pre-party begins. They're going to kick off the night with a live DJ spinning iconic 90s grunge and alternative rock hits, full cash bar, and food available for purchase along with complimentary popcorn. Expect immersive throwback moments throughout the venue inspired by the raw, music-driven spirit of the era. Come dressed in your best 90s alt look and lean into the new. 7 p.m. the movie screening will begin. It's a 21-plus event. General admission is free, but advanced registration through Eventbrite is required. Seating is general admission, first come, first served.
Friday, May 15th, a new Leaf 55th anniversary 4K restoration presented by Cinematograph Film at the IFC Center, 3236 Avenue, New York, New York. This is the first theatrical run of Cinematograph 4K restoration of this 70s critical success. A New Leaf is a 1971 American black comedy film written and directed by Elaine May in her directorial debut based on a short story, The Green Heart, by Jack Ritchie. It stars May along with Walter Matthau, Jack Weston, George Rose, and James Coco. In this film, New York City boy playboy Henry Graham has run out of money. He has decided to find a wealthy bride and finds Shy Harris and Henrietta Wolf and takes control of her finances after the wedding and fires her dishonest staff. He carefully plans to poison, but even his own best laid plans go awry.
Sunday, May 17th, Video Paradise 2, a VHS swap meet presented by the Analog Basement at Clover Road Brewing in Hudson, Massachusetts. They say the sequel is almost never as good as the first one. Well, Video Paradise 2 is ready to blow that trope out of the water. The Analog Basement has assembled 6 of the best VHS and physical media market vendors in the New England area for another Sunday afternoon of slinging tapes at Clover Road Brewing. Whether you're a seasoned collector, restarting a collection, or brand new to the hobby, there will be something for everyone. You got a certain genre you look for when you're tape hunting, action, horror, comedy, martial arts, we'll have them all. Join us on May 17th from 12 to 5 p.m.
Friday, May 22nd, I Love Boosters theatrical premiere in theaters nationwide, including the Coolidge Corner Cinema in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the return of Boots Riley, nearly 8 years removed from his highly lauded Sorry to Bother You. I Love Boosters follows a crew of professional shoplifters who take aim at a cutthroat fashion maiden, starring an all-star cast including Keke Palmer, Don Cheadle, Demi Moore, Tyler Page, and more.
June 5th, Trainspotting 4K screenings are going to be presented by Sony Pictures Classic at theaters nationwide. Set in an underbelly of Edinburgh, the city of fathers never dreamed of, Trainspotting is the story of Mark and his so-called friends, a bunch of losers, liars, psychos, thieves, and junkies. Hilarious but harrowing, the film charts the disintegration of their friendship as they proceed, seemingly inevitably towards self-destruction. Mark alone has the insight and opportunity to escape his fate, but then again, does he really want to choose life?
Thursday, June 25th, Shaun of the Dead, part of the Thirsty Thursday series at Somerville Theater, bringing your favorite movie bar to the big screen. Shaun is a 30-something loser with a dull, easy existence. When he's not working at the electronics store, he lives in his best friend Ed in a small flat on the outskirts of London. The only unpredictable element in his life is his girlfriend Liz, who wishes desperately for Shaun to grow up and become a man. When the town is inexplicably overran with zombies, Shaun must rise to the occasion and protect both Liz and his mother. 7:30 at the Somerville Theater. For more details and other films, please, in this series, visit www.somervilletheater.com.
Great alley-oop for this episode. Sunday, July 5th, is the Citizen Kane 85th anniversary, presented by Fathom Entertainment at theaters nationwide. A boy abandoned by his parents inherits a fortune, builds a global newspaper empire, and aspires to become president of the United States, but he loses everything over an affair with an untalented nightclub singer. This fascinating story unfolds through the eyes of the people important to the tycoon, each showing a different aspect of Citizen Kane. Special 85th anniversary release includes exclusive insight from Leonard Maltin. If you live in our area of southern New Hampshire or Massachusetts, there are screenings that day at AMC in Methuen, Apple Cinemas in Merrimack and Hooksett, Showcase Cinema in Lowell and Woburn, Cinemark in Salem, New Hampshire, and plenty of other theaters as well. Go to fathomentertainment.com to find a screening near you.
Friday, July 17th, the Odyssey 70mm theatrical premiere in theaters nationwide, including a 70mm at Coolidge Corner Cinema in Cambridge, Massachusetts. A mythical action epic from master of cinema Chris Nolan, shot across the world, brings Homer's Foundation saga to the screen, starring Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Zendaya, and Charlize Theron.
And Lupita Nyong'o. Also, the New Hampshire Film Festival, October 15th through the 18th, throughout downtown Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Submissions are open now. The New Hampshire Film Festival is an annual fall event located in Portsmouth that unites professional filmmakers, screenwriters, and film industry experts with film lovers. Drawing thousands of attendees annually, NHFF is the region's premier film festival and is an integral resource for local and national industry professionals who return each year. Movie Maker Magazine named the New Hampshire Film Festival on its annual list of 50 film festivals worth the entry fee. For more details, visit nhfilmfestival.com.
And our final closing segment is, because we love going to the movies, we got to shout out our favorite theaters. And as we always say, if you have a theater in your area that you love and holds a place dear in your heart, please let us know about it. Danny and I are both on the road all year round, doing rap shows, doing photography gigs, all of that stuff. We would love to check out the movie theaters in your area, so please give us cool recommendations. And what do you say? You want to kick this off? You want me to kick this off? I'll kick this off.
Yeah.
How about that? So I got to send a big shout out to the Coolidge Corner Cinema in Brookline, Massachusetts. Coolidge Corner Theater is New England's most successful independent nonprofit cinema. Originally built as a church in 1906, it was redesigned as an Art Deco movie palace in 1933 and has never closed the doors to the public since. Located in the heart of Brookline, Massachusetts, it was the community's first movie theater, and now a nonprofit foundation since 1989. It celebrates the experience of cinema by presenting the finest international documentary, animated, and independent film selections and series.
We've got the Bridal Theater in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Bridal shows the best in classic, cutting-edge foreign and art house films. They also show first-run films and new releases of classic films, but our specialty is a repertoire programming format consisting of films from a particular director, genre, or subject shown over the course of a week or on the same weekday throughout the month.
We got the Wilton Town Hall Theater in Wilton, New Hampshire. Originally a silent movie house, the theater has been in operation nearly continuously since 1912. Now they show free movie screenings multiple nights a week. Follow them on Facebook or join their email list for updates on screenings.
And since you're not wearing the hoodie, I'll do it this time. The Milford Drive-In Theater in Milford, New Hampshire. Old-fashioned two-screen drive-in movie theater with a snack bar and a remote-control car track. Originally established in 1958 and has been family-owned and operated since 1969.
Mendon Twin Drive-In Theater in Mendon, Massachusetts was built in 1953 and opened in 1954. Second movie screen added in 1998. It's now a New England institution along with one of the top drive-ins in the country, sitting on 16 acres of beautiful tree-lined land.
And a new one to the list, Wellfleet Drive-In Theater in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The only drive-in theater on Cape Cod, located in Wellfleet, Massachusetts, along Route 6. The complex offers first-run double features in season with other attractions such as indoor cinema, flea market, a miniature golf course, and restaurants. The drive-in is also one of the venues for the annual Provincetown International Film Festival in Provincetown, Massachusetts.
We also got the Somerville Theater in Somerville, Massachusetts. Somerville Theater is an independent movie theater and concert venue in the Davis Square neighborhood of Somerville, Massachusetts. More than 100 years old, the Somerville Theater started off as a vaudeville house and a movie theater. We also have Canonic in Portland, Maine. Canonic is a non-profit micro-cinema dedicated to watching films projected on analog formats. They preserve and present essential 16mm and 35mm film. They screen films on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Visit canonic.org for showtimes and more info.
The Circle Cinema Theater in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where The Outsiders opened and was filmed. Circle Cinema first opened in 1928 as a silent movie theater. Over the years, it's changed many times, showing all kinds of movies and going through many owners. For a while, the theater was even closed and the building sat empty. In 2002, Clark Waynes opened, along with a group of supporters, formed the Circle Cinema Foundation to bring the theater back to life. They bought the building and reopened in 2004 as a nonprofit movie theater. Since then, Circle has grown and added more screens, a bigger lobby, and even brought back the original 1928 pipeboard.
And lastly, we got the Admiral Twin Drive-In in Tulsa, Oklahoma, also featured in The Outsiders. Admiral Twin Drive-In is a historic movie theater located off Route 66 in Tulsa. It's been showing movies since 1951 and has been hosting many local events, including being featured in The Outsiders. All right, we've run this episode deep. We gotta give some shit away before we go.
Yeah.
This is the last thing we're doing. Somebody's going home with this Orson Welles 12 by 18 poster
that we've been holding on to that I didn't just make today.
No, not at all. Did not make it just
Did
now.
not make it and go get it printed and framed today.
So if I do this right. Ow! Look at that.
So you guys are gonna see with us in real time who's taking this home tonight.
All right. 1, 2, 3,
Go.
Good luck, everyone. Click the spin
You gotta do it on the tab.
on the tab.
Yep. Remember? You gotta go on the website. There you go.
That probably helps.
Yep.
Winner is.
Oh my god, no, he won last week. He's gonna say he doesn't win, so.
Back up.
Yeah.
Remove.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that one more time. Like,
All right, one more time then.
One more time.
And it's Mike again.
It's Elliot.
This is a wall full of these at some if he keeps this up.
Elliot's gonna have all these posters and be like, I don't even remember any of this shit, honestly. I wasn't in the headspace for it.
That is so funny.
Do it again so that someone that will appreciate it more.
Alright, let's do it. Let's give it one more.
Oh, wow. What an offer.
Trooper.
Since he's already won, he's giving it up for somebody else.
Let's see who else is gonna have a one-of-one Hellhound Film Club print.
Oh! Jess!
Oh, so close.
Jess is the winner!
Jess, make me proud. Hang it somewhere beautiful.
Absolutely.
Nicely done.
All right, now that that's done, we are back.
We're back, guys. We're not back, we're done. This has been an awesome episode. I love Orson Welles. Thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you for joining us tonight. I looked and I didn't see you for a second, so I got confused. You guys were the best. Thank you so much. I hope everybody had as much fun as we did tonight. I hope you guys stuck around for this extra long episode. And please, you know what? Last thing I'm going to ask for in the comments. Let us know in the comments if you like us to go longer or if you want us to cap them at an hour. I was trying to cap them at an hour because I was thinking of digestibility, but I had a lot of fun just shooting the shit and going off tonight. So
It's always the second hour that's always the best.
I always like a good no limit show. So you guys let us know what you think about how we're doing things, and we're gonna keep things moving. And let us know if you like the background music that we forgot to shut off tonight too, and we'll see how that sounds when we go to listen to the episode. As always,
Don't forget, you can join us right here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the Spot in Downtown Nashua for our free movie screening and live recording of these episodes every Wednesday night. That's 217 Main Street in Nashua, New Hampshire. Come down, watch a flick, grab a drink, eat well with good friends, and as always,
don't skip the first two lines.
or skip the 2 lines. Oh, that's what I get. I was scrolled down too far.
Man, we're throwing this episode out.
Yeah, we're all done with this.
Yep. We need to run on this show.
It's all over. But actually, don't forget to thank you so much for tuning in.
Here we go. Third time's a charm.
Hey, third time's a charm. Please be sure to subscribe to our main YouTube channel, Hellhound Publishing, and subscribe to our newest channel, Hellhound Film Club, dedicated to this show, as well as bonus clips, exclusive bonus episodes, interviews, and more. Those subs and comments are really taking us places.
Please consider being a part of our Patreon community for just $1 a month. For just that $1 a month, you're going to get exclusive and early access to Hellhound Film Club, as well as all the other podcasts, music, and book releases from Hellhound Publishing. Since 2018, you can join today to help support us and get some really great entertainment for just $1 a month. Patreon.com/Hellhound Publishing.
And don't forget, you can join here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the Spot in downtown Nashua, New Hampshire for our free movie screening and live recording of these episodes. That's Wednesday night at 217 Main Street, Nashua, New Hampshire. Come down, watch a flick, grab a drink, eat well with good friends, and
Don't forget the popcorn.